Good morning, everybody. This is Judith Echo. You're listening to Mad Love. Let's get into it. So, we are in such crazy times. So I told you guys to look up Catherine Fitts, Fitts. She used to work for I think she was in the Clinton administration. She's just this financial, brilliant, genius woman who started to question what was going on in the federal government at that level. And they basically turned on her. She says she endured 11 years of enemy of the state behavior. Remember that movie with Will Smith and she said in real life, his office was next door to her real office, like in the movie. I guess that might not have been such a subtle jab, at her, because when she started asking questions and started trying to follow the money and like, what are we doing? Are we really serving people? What power does the president really have? Is he just a front for, and it's true. He is just a front. He or she, whenever we get a female president, they're just a front. The real people who run the planet, you don't know who they are. And they run every single world leader. And she was detailing how she was attacked financially. They tried to bankrupt her. They tried to, they gave her all these tax problems. They just made her life hell for 11 years. And I guess they just got tired and gave up. Or something. I didn't stick around. I need to go back and watch the whole thing. But something made them finally stop. And now she's, I think, in her 60s or 70s. And she's just out here speaking her truth and telling people like, yeah, the Pentagon is basically running everything. And that there's $21 trillion of U.S. tax dollars that are just missing. And they've been building all these underground bunkers because basically they expect that there'll be these race wars. They've been trying to create race wars, as you can see. You can see it. They're trying to turn us on each other because that's where the last great financial boon can come from. That because people are starting these wars because they make them money. That's how you get money. That's the lesson they learned from World War II. Like, oh, we can stimulate the economy. And so now they're doing these forever wars, wars that will never end. Eventually Russia's going to, I guess, get tired of Ukraine and really stomp it out. But I don't even know if that war, of course, you can go back and you can hear me voicing support for Ukraine. But then now, some years later, I don't even know what that was really about. I know that the Bidens have profited greatly from their business dealings in Ukraine. I know Hunter Biden was doing a lot of business for his dad in Ukraine. And then we're sending all this money to them. It's like, what? What is happening? So, over the years, you can hear my conspiracies in real time. I'm starting to be like, hey, I don't understand the Ukraine war. I don't understand that Zelensky was an actor who played the president on some TV show over there or a movie, and now he's actually the president, and he's walking around shaking hands and getting hundreds of millions and billions of dollars from us. It's starting to be ridiculous. Like they're playing in our faces. That's like if Tom Cruise was the president of the United States. Because he played the president once. But I don't know if he's ever done that. But like Morgan Freeman is now the president because he played the president in a movie 30 years ago. Like, what? That's weird. I don't know where I stand on Ukraine now because I don't know that we've ever been told the truth about anything. And now people are starting to realize the difference between Jewish people and Israel and the way they run their government and how they're out here in the shadows blackmailing people, assassinating people, allegedly. They're doing all this stuff. And it's like, how do they have so much power in the United States? People are starting to wake up and ask some very serious questions. People with much bigger platforms than I have. But, it's like, this is kind of scary. So I was watching Catherine Fitz yesterday, and then she introduced another element where she was like, she speaking for herself, she's like, I believe because of places like CERN, look it up, CERN, they have a very polite scientific description about what they do, but they really are opening portals and doing all kinds of crazy interdimensional stuff. And many of the world leaders are Satanists, which I know you have a hard time believing, but it's true. They have pretended to be godly, but they never tell you their God is not, the God that I pray to. It's evil and it's demonic and it's satanic. And a lot of these people are in charge of, CERN experiments. So she made the observation that she believes that a lot of what we're seeing is demonic and it's interdimensional. Like we're fighting demons on different dimensions. And she believes we're deeply in a spiritual war, like spiritual warfare is real. And I believe that too. I believe a lot of people have turned their lives over to dark forces because they wanted to get what they wanted and they were impatient and they didn't trust God's divine timing and they just decided, well, I'm just going to take this dark deal. Did you know Sammy Davis Jr. was a Satanist? I didn't know that. Google it. I'm telling you, there's some shit out here that is sort of like, what have we been doing all this time? Like, I don't know. I missed when things were fun and cool in the 80s when you could just have a soda pop, go to the movies, your food was real. McDonald's food was actually cooked in the store. Yeah, I grew up in an ideal time, I guess, and I just didn't realize it. Fast food is not great for you, but it's worse for you now because it's not real food. Buy a McDonald's hamburger and let it sit somewhere for, I don't know, a week, 2 weeks, a month. There's a guy on YouTube, I think he's had a hamburger in his office for a year or two. And it doesn't smell. There's no flies. It didn't rot. It's just hard as a rock, but mostly intact. Now, how is that supposed to be good for you? If you eat something that lives forever in your body, how is that good for you? And all of that just to increase profits year over year. They put all these chemicals in it to make it addictive tasting, to make your body crave it, but it's not real food. So what are you craving, really? I don't know. It's a scary world. So I feel like the demonic forces are attaching themselves to people and situations. And bear with me. I know it sounds like science fiction, but, it's not. It's really happening. And CERN is opening portals and doing all kinds of stuff that they don't understand, really. They really don't. And there are a lot of people, like I said, they're not godly. They want more power, and they don't care how they get it. The Rothschilds come to mind. But there are many, many very wealthy families that have been here for years, and they are protecting their bloodlines. We don't know all of their names, and they really, really run things. And they allow people to feel like they have some power. But I'm beginning to think voting is a scam. None of these people do what you vote for. And Missouri is known. You'll vote for something and the legislature will just not do it. You vote for, yeah, we still want to allow abortions. And then the legislature will just be like, no. It's happened time after time. Major topics. The voters feel all proud of themselves. They went through the process. They did what they thought they were supposed to do. And then the Missouri legislature just doesn't do it. They go another direction. They do whatever they want. They vote it down. So it's like, this is wild. This is so wild to me. You have given us the power to pretend that we have freedom, but it's not real. It's not real. So, I don't even know if voting is even worth it. And then you got all these phony ass politicians and they just smile in your face and tell you what you want to hear on a campaign trail. They're not going to do that. None of them plan to do what they're promising you. It's just, and in fact, then you have the new politicians who are so naive, and they're not trying to play the game. They, some of them really think that they can make change, and they can't. And some of them aren't planning on making changes. Some of them really are just lying to you. They say what you want to hear, and then they are going to do what they want to do until it's time to campaign again. So we're in a very scary season, and people need to start paying attention and start being really focused on, on discernment. I would say pray every day and ask God for a spirit of discernment, for being able to tell what's real and what's not real, what's just and what's not just. And so I'm not trying to scare anybody. And oddly, I'm not afraid. There was a time in my life where all this shit would scare the shit out of me. But I'm past that time. If it's time to go see the king, take me. I'm ready to go. I've had a good life. I haven't accomplished everything that I feel like I came here to accomplish. Absolutely not. I'm not staring down a 20-year career of making epic television and film projects. So, of course, I haven't finished my mission. But I've had a good life, and I've done a lot of good things. And I'm not afraid to die, but I'm just not ready to die. But if that's what it is, peace. This has been really ridiculously hard. No one who knows me, people who even know me are like, I didn't even know you went through so much. Because I'm going to tell you something. When you have a bipolar sibling, your whole family has bipolar. And there are varying degrees of participation. I was the youngest. So I had to deal with a lot of things that other people could just kind of occasionally peek in on. I was behind my brother. So, I was there longer and more immersed. And then my mom always had to put eyes on him, and she didn't have a husband or a partner or somebody that could get her to him. So I had to do it. And yeah, my friends are like, I didn't even know it was that hard on you. You never said anything. I was like, I'm not a complainer. Believe it or not, I don't complain very much. I might bitch about something or an aspect of something, but I'm not really somebody who's just going to sit up, and I haven't seen you in a long time, and I'm not going to sit up and just complain about my life or the parts of my life I don't like. That's just not who I am. You have to be really close to me to know what's upsetting me. And I've gotten to a point since I got really sick and recovered that I don't even waste time with that. I just won't, it just doesn't stick. It doesn't matter. I'm happy to be alive. I'm grateful for every moment. I'm not going to waste time complaining. So that's just not who I am. So a lot of people, even with my mom, they were like, you are going through hell and you just never complain. I'm like, no. What's the point? There's no point to complain. There's nothing to complain about, especially when you volunteer. I volunteered to take care of my mom. I signed up for that. I'm not a victim. And it was hard as fuck and horrible. I'd do it again, over and over again for my mom. Because she's your mother. You only get one mother. And I do it over and over again. The only thing I would change is I would get rich first. You just have to have more resources to throw at it because there's very little help. And I'm starting to look into some of these grant programs. And so I'm going to urge people to go to a website called, I think it's findhelp.org. And every state has a bunch of grants and things and medical stuff that you can apply for that no one tells you about. I'm going to start researching that more and start sharing that more in the newsletter because, every place you would think that's going to help you, there's no help there. So, yeah, I got to do more research on that. I just discovered that myself this week, actually. So, anyway, my main point is there are a lot of evil people and evil energies out here. It's not even attached to people. There are things that are being released energetically that are not for the good of humanity. And we're just walking down the street and like minding our own business. And this shit is attacking us. There is definitely spiritual warfare, and it is definitely happening now. So I'm going to do, like I said, this stuff really used to scare me, but I've been through too much to be afraid of this kind of thing. Like literally, when you don't sleep for years, when you got a sick person in your house, and in the movies, Alzheimer's patients look like zombies and they're staring out the window. But that it takes a long time to get to that, if they ever get to that. And my mom was a fighter, literally and physically. She was punching me, and oh, literally and figuratively, but yeah, physically, she was punching the shit out of me. She punched my sister. She was punching us and kicking us and screaming at us, and she scratched me up one day. Listen, it was something. And there were nights when I was laying in my bed and she was rummaging through stuff, and she was inconsolable and mean. And I was like, man, this feels demonic. Maybe Alzheimer's is demonic. I don't know. But it sure was an unpleasant situation. So this is how I stay calm. Not only do I not worry about it, this year I've discovered the Ho'oponopono prayer, but I do a modified version that I've found from Dr. Steve Young. I called him Steve Lee, but it's Steve Young. And it goes like this. I've said it before, but I say this probably 5 to 10 times a day. I love you, God. I'm sorry I don't always recognize your love and divine orchestration over every moment of my life, including this one. Please forgive me. Thank you so much for everything. It calms me down. It feels amazing to say that. And I say it repeatedly through the day since I discovered it in June or July. And today I'm going to make an addition, which is, please God, deliver us from all evil, seen and unseen, forces known and unknown. And thank you, because surely goodness and mercy is following me today and every day. I hope you have an amazing weekend. Please take care of yourselves.